There are nights when you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering why love feels so distant, why everyone else seems to find their person, and you're still waiting. You pray, you hope, you trust, and yet, nothing changes. But what if the delay isn't denial? What if God is already moving, quietly, intentionally, right now? Godzilla. You don't talk about it much, but deep down, the loneliness weighs on you. You smile around people, but when you're alone, the silence gets loud. You wonder if something is wrong with you, if you missed your moment, if you waited too long, or trusted too much. You've watched doors close, people leave, connections fade, and every time you ask God the same question in a different way. Why hasn't it happened yet? You love God, you're trying to do things the right way, but sometimes it feels like obedience has cost you companionship. And that confusion, that quiet ache, that's where you are right now. Here's what most people never tell you. God doesn't introduce soulmates the way the world introduces relationships. The world rushes. God prepares. The world connects based on desire. God connects based on destiny. Before God brings the right person into your life, He first brings unclarity into your spirit. Because love without alignment becomes pain, and connection without purpose becomes a distraction. God cares too much about your future to rush your heart. So let me show you 4 powerful ways God introduces you to your soulmate. Ways that don't look romantic at first, but are deeply divine. Way 1. God introduces your soulmate through a season of separation. This is the part no one likes. Before God brings the right person, He often removes the wrong ones. He separates you, not because you're unlovable, but because you're being refined. This season feels lonely, quiet, uncomfortable. But in this separation, God is teaching you something crucial: how to stand whole without leaning on someone else for identity. Because if you don't know who you are alone, you'll lose yourself in love. God introduces soulmates only after independence becomes peace, not fear. God won't connect you to someone until you're no longer desperate to be connected. Way 2. God introduces your soulmate by healing what you didn't know was broken. Some wounds are hidden, buried under strength, covered by faith, but God sees them. Old disappointments, unspoken betrayals, trust issues you learned to normalize. Before God brings someone who can love you well, He heals what would sabotage that love. That's why God sometimes allows silence, why prayers feel unanswered, why emotions surface unexpectedly. It's not punishment, it's preparation. God doesn't want your soulmate meeting a version of you that's still bleeding. Way 3. God introduces your soulmate through alignment, not attraction. Attraction is loud, alignment is quiet. Attraction pulls, alignment flows. When God introduces your soulmate, it won't feel chaotic, it will feel steady. You won't have to force conversations. You won't have to convince them to stay. You won't have to chase clarity. There will be peace, even before certainty. God connects people whose paths already point in the same direction. That's why He adjusts your habits, your values, your environment. He's aligning you before He connects you. The right person won't compete with God's presence in your life. They will complement it. Way 4. God introduces your soulmate when you stop looking and start trusting. This one feels backwards, but it's true. When love becomes your focus, disappointment follows. When God becomes your focus, love finds you. God introduces soulmates when your heart is no longer scanning every room, but resting in His timing. When you stop asking, "Is this them?" and start asking, "God, who am I becoming?" That's when alignment happens naturally, because God doesn't hide soulmates. He reveals them at the right moment. So what do you do while you wait? First, stop rushing God's process. Delay does not mean denial. Second, guard your heart, not by closing it, but by grounding it in truth. Third, pay attention to peace, not chemistry alone. Fourth, build intimacy with God deeper than your desire for romance, because the more whole you become, the clearer God's introductions will be. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not waiting alone. God is intentional with your heart, careful with your future, protective over your love story. What feels like silence is actually orchestration. What feels like delay is divine alignment. And when the introduction happens, you'll realize the wait was mercy. God hasn't forgotten you.